Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are live with Ascension number 4's quarterfinal match number 1. It's 3 Crow against Btyb88, and I am joined as always by a Scatu Mask. How you doing, dude?
Hi. I'm sort of alive, I guess.
Sort of alive, you say?
Sort of.
I hope you're ready to feel the energy, the hidden energy, perhaps, because 3 Crow and Btyb just had some warm-up games, and I did some very silly things, but hopefully they still appreciated the practice. We're going to be jumping straight in here to the next set. And, yeah, you know, Btyb's in the Twitch chat. He says, get those Twitch numbers up. Obviously, unfortunately, homie, you can't count towards the viewer record while we're actually playing the game, because that would be stream sniping. But don't worry, you can hang out for a little bit, because we got to do pick ban anyway. Ah, hidden energy. There you go. Crouching Ahmed.
I am first picking Jungle Twitch.
There you go.
And my support is going to be Singed. Oh, shit. Now we're banned.
Oh, absolutely banned by Riot themselves. Okay, so if you guys are in the chat, we can just do this way instead. Let's check it out. We got, I'm waiting for 3 Crow here. I think he was on the YouTube channel earlier, so he should be here pretty soon if he's not already. Let's say, Ben, why don't you pick a random number between 1 and 100? Yeah, Kian is there. Check it out. And Kian, you should also pick a number between 1 and 100. Okay, we've got some interesting values here. Let's see. Let's see who wins the our version of the coin toss. Okay, 3 Crow says 91. Oh my god, 3 Crow? Well, you got it, dude, because that number was 89. You were 2 off, and that's almost 3.
That's almost 3.
I'll go ahead and post this as a receipt. Just generated this now. So, that means, of course, that 3 Crow will have access to choosing if he wants to ban 2 maps, or if he wants to pick 1 map after banning 1 map. So he'll pick the starter if he wants to do that. So which one are you thinking about, 3 Crow? I'll start writing this down for the description. And yes, I can post the maps. That's a good idea. All right. 3 Crow has elected to ban 2 maps. So the format is going to work that he bans 1 map, and then Btyb will ban the other map. And then 3 Crow will ban his second map, and Btyb will pick. So what is your first ban, 3 Crow?
Don't you dare ban mainstream.
Three Crow bans Infinite Velocity, which is basically like banning Main Street, honestly. Btyb bans Nightfall. What an asshole, dude. We were just practicing on that. All right, 3 Crow, what's your next one? Nitro Valley. So the macro maps are getting kicked out of the pool here. All right, Btyb, why don't you pick a map between Boskevine, Death Spiral, Equilibrium, Otherworld, and Repulsion. Those are our 5 maps here. Oh my god. Yeah, if you're not a Ripcord user, you probably didn't see that. It was fucking omitted because Discord's really good. I'll ask if they want to redo it since that's a kind of a silly fucking issue. Okay, he's fine with it. All right, so it was Repulsion selected, apparently. Okay, never mind. He does want to redo. All right, back again. Rewind. All right.
I first picked Main Street.
Always.
Always.
I was debating whether or not you should be able to pick your map before the bans, but I feel like... I don't know. Maybe we'll experiment with that later. So he bans Boskevine first. 3 Crow is going to ban Boskevine.
Absolutely trolled. Absolutely 3'd.
Btyb bans Death Spiral. 3 Crow, what is your next ban? Is it still Infinite Velocity / Nitro Valley? I'm assuming it's one of those two, but we'll see what he has to say. Maybe he's coming up with a different plan. Still Nitro Valley. Btyb, are you still picking Repulsion? Repulsion start. That leaves us with Equilibrium, Infinite Velocity, Otherworld, and Nightfall, actually. Nightfall, Otherworld. All right, there is the pick ban posted in the events chat for posterity. Not posteriority, but just posterity.
Posteriority.
And we are going to go ahead and host Repulsion here and get into our very first playoffs match of Ascension number 4. It's always a special time. I hope our players are ready. I hope Iskatumask is ready. I'm even going to go ahead and center my microphone, so I'm speaking.
I'm here. I'm just like, I'm always middlemaning conversations between these people.
Classic.
In this case, between medical professionals and someone else. I've always got stuff going. But I'm here.
Here today, 3 tomorrow. Posing for a selfie. Classic. All right. I think we're just about ready here. Btyb is 1-secking us, and he's not in the... He's not actually in the ready position, the posterioration. And we can use the early game on a map like Repulsion to talk about our players and set up this narrative here, because these two players, I would say, are fairly even-keeled. We are going to go ahead and get a move on here. Of course, I hope that I am using this opportunity to remind our players to not be watching the stream, as much as I appreciate having access to more viewers.
As much as you appreciate the ad revenue, the subs, and the super chats.
Yeah. See, Mask is my... He's the guy who's actually going to tell you guys to do all that shit. Which is funny because, you know...
Subscribe and like. And post this on your Reddit channel and on your MySpace page. Go to your Tumblr that you absolutely use for safe for work material. And go to the X platform and make a Zeet.
There you go.
Or a Yeet. This is a Protoss mirror match. Do you believe there are going to be vassals involved?
I certainly hope so, but I have to point out, Btyb is the one who has gone mineral only so far, and his opener is going to be a gateway, whereas 3Crow is already harvesting gas, so we're going to wait to see what's up. Both of our players starting off with their pylon very close to their nexus, which can double as an optimal place for a defensive warden, which is kind of telling. So maybe they're being a little bit on the safer side.
I don't think you can ever be too safe against vassals.
Yeah, they are deadly. I did end up having
being nerfed is the hippogriffs were one of their only natural predators.
You know what's funny is the hippogriff actually does single target damage and a fairly high cooldown and launches like 6 missiles. So yeah, vassals might actually work against them since they're low armor. That could be a horrifying sight. It's going to be a 2-gate opener for Ben Taberski, who does typically like to try to get his games over with nice and fast, and he's presented with a very greedy opportunity here because 3Crow has gone for an embassy first. So that'll be scouted soon.
That's weird. Why would you go for embassy first?
So this is a build that 3Crow told me about, where you can actually get your artisan out fairly quickly and try to build static defense in your opponent's base with it, or do any other number of things with the artisan. It doesn't warp structures in faster.
I forgot.
Yeah.
You get the tier 2 worker off of that now. That's why he's getting gas.
Yep.
Oh, this is going to be stupid.
Now the problem is,
feel it.
You can already tell, and you know, 3Crow's worker really should have stuck around for a little bit longer, but you can already tell this Legionnaire is heading out for blood. So it's path directly to the Nexus anyway, and that gateway is going to be a while. But a Warden is placed defensively. And beyond that, you're looking at the embassy finishing. It's just going to be used for scribe production for now.
I don't know. Maybe he transitioned out of it because he could see he's making a scribe from it and went for a gateway. So if he was going to get an artist and it's going to be kind of late, this warden's going to have some damage dealt to it.
Oh my god, that's actually that's Poggin. He's going to lose his shields. He's actually going to be taking hull damage from this in a second. There
it is. He's getting tickled.
And the Legionnaire's here. This might be a very, very fast game, boys. It's gonna finish, and he's actually putting damage on the Legionnaire first. Okay, so he's actually out of the woodwork, believe it or not.
Easy clap. Easy clap.
He survived the initial push.
Kian's in the bag. Now you got to invest. Now's the time we get the artisan because he thinks you're using it just for macro. No, now's the time you go straight to the engram.
It could happen.
It'll be hard with the vision range, but maybe if you stuck the pylon on the low in that corner there, you just might be able to pull it off. Give it the old tug.
Well, there's going to be a contained setup here for Ben. But with a second Warden, a third Warden even on the way, this is definitely a very defensive play here. He's expecting a real heavy push.
He's absolutely just turtled in, and there are Legionnaires trickling in here, and, well,
look at this.
It's already too late for them.
His Ecclesiast was actually healing the Warden's shields there versus the Legionnaires. So 3Crow staying alive just based on the shield regen, because it's pretty low, you can see. But now that the second Warden is there, that's a lot of resources that Ben has piled in.
3.
That is 3. A third gateway, in fact, for Ben, so that's 3. He might just look to expand off of this and see if he can get himself. And the Artisan is started, Mask.
Oh, boy. I'm looking forward to that proxy engram.
And look at this. He's got
you got what it takes.
The Zealot out for 3Crow. It means he can push back this lone group of Legionnaires. But once you get 3, maybe that's the point where you can turn this around, because, of course, 3. But I don't know. I mean, at this point, 3Crow's looking pretty solid. He can actually expand off of this faster than Ben can. Ben's building his own
Ben
Warden.
Was a little too... He wasn't quite able to finish off that Warden when it started. At that point, he should have called it off. Everything after that was like a sunk cost policy. And he didn't really get to take advantage of the position he was in because of the past embassy as a result. And now we can see Kian's actually ahead on workers because of that.
Massively so, and not only that, but he's not expanding. He's going for a grand library.
This artisan's gonna fly right past those Legionnaires.
Does
he notice it?
It almost doesn't matter. Yeah, he's not looking. He's not looking. But 3Crow looked, so he knows that it could have been seen, right? And you're not expecting your opponent to not pay attention to something like that, right? But let's see what the response time is, because this force can absolutely overpower. Immediately jumping onto the Ecclesiast. I don't know if it'll survive. No, body blocked by the Dracodon on the way up the ramp, so
annihilated.
It will be kept at bay. But the Grand Library is finished. Now, I did make a big stink recently talking, well, not stink, but I was talking about the Cantavis revisions, right? Our name for the High Templar, a very powerful caster. Psionic Storm now lasts a very long time and can be used for very prolonged area denial, particularly for mining. But it's not going to be coming out just yet. He doesn't have the gas for it, but he does have a Nexus warping in the top left. He's a bit behind the tempo of Btyb, but 3Crow will have an expansion. Hidden base in the top left. And again, I don't think Ben noticed the trajectory there, so he could be very well safe right now.
No, he's going for a fast expand, so no proxy shenanigans, but the fast expand could still serve him well if he doesn't get pressured out in this.
Hold on.
Oh, no, right into the cannons.
If he had gone for that and really focused down that low HP Warden, he could have potentially popped both of those and forced more of an expensive, remax. At that point, maybe 3Crow feels really endangered and decides he's going to back off. But he has an Amaranth out now. Amaranth plus Ecclesiast is shield steal for days. It will be overwhelmed by the Zealots. So that's going to be, just barely staying alive, and the rest of them can pick off. Yeah, actually, the Amaranth only barely falls at the very end there, showing the power of both the Amaranth's inherent shield steal and the Ecclesiast regeneration. Very, very good synergy together.
Btyb's got to be careful about losing all his stuff, though, because he doesn't really have a lot. And
That's
the more he gives to Kian in terms of military presence on the map by losing his units like that, the further and further he's going to be falling behind. But he doesn't realize that there is a secret base complete with another embassy.
Yep.
Slowly starting up there, and Kian's eventually going to have a massive economic lead. I mean, he's got his own base set up, but it's out in the front, so without a military, it can be pressured down. But it doesn't really look like Kian even wants to attack right now at all.
I wonder what he's going to be going for here. You'd expect something else cheeky, but he doesn't really have the gas to do anything super intense right now. He was actually harvesting from the ridge instead of the geyser, which is a mistake. And he's just going to add more gateways right now, it looks like. So he wants to overpower him with the conventional infantry for the Protoss. Not really going in any specialists just yet. And I think Btyb will probably think he's ahead economically, despite being behind in workers from the embassy, because he's going to think, oh, there was no expansion, right? And you really could get surprised by the presence of this base in the top left.
Yeah, he hasn't scouted anywhere. He has no idea that there is just secret. I mean, Kian's not even bothering with his Nat right now, so maybe that might kind of give it away.
Right.
As if he comes back and there is still nothing placed here to enforce this, he might be a little sussy.
Well, at the same time, the movement is caught, and when Ecclesiast is taking some damage, but a couple of these Zealots are already going to be picked off before the real proper fight begins over this bridge. Btyb does have a couple of reinforcements streaming in, but there is a Herald out, and if you don't know what the Herald does, I wouldn't blame you. It's a very rarely seen unit, but what it does is it's sort of like a souped-up Ecclesiast in terms of regenerating shields, plus it allows you to avenge the corpse of the enemy, so that means that you'll get attack rate while killing units that have been debuffed by it. And you can already see that kicking in right here because the Zealots are sounding off way faster than before. This Herald could turn the fight immediately, even if it wasn't already going to be key in favor just based on the tech deficit that Btyb is currently operating at. He's got a Herald of his own, though. We might be able to see something go Btb's way.
It is just so strange seeing Pros versus Pros that isn't like a massed racket in it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is probably the first proper PvP match that we've seen in a tournament, I want to say, because everybody else at most you had like
really
one
different
Protoss,
for
right?
sure.
Maybe,
Yeah.
there were a couple of rounds before where the Shambler was playing Protoss, but it wasn't really that consistently used, you could say. So a little bit of network lag here and there, but our players are used to that. A little bit of Canada. There's 5 more Zealots coming in, and there is an Atreus out here for Btyb. He doesn't want to lose that one, as it does provide a little bit of limited crowd control.
Just back and forth tickling.
Yeah, they're neither player really committing too hard to it, and both players floating a decent amount of minerals. 3Crow also floating a bit of gas as he queues up some more Ecclesiasts for shield regen. Could take his natural at any time.
Btyb has less workers, but his nat is a lot more saturated than his top base is.
Yeah.
And now he's taking the third, and it looks like he might just go straight back to his actual nat at this point. So this is really going to come down to some scouting.
Okay. Right, because it's hard to defend both this upper middle third location and obviously hold your main entrance here, and there's not really enough static defense to deal with what Btyb has to offer if he just charges into the main. So a lot is going to come down to this next fight. I mean, Btyb does technically have kill pressure 10 minutes into the game. It's just a question of whether or not 3Crow can spend his money, get his men back up to snuff. He does have a Cantabus out, so we got to watch out for whether or not that uses Hallucination for a short-term debuff, or if it's going to use Psystorm just to shut out an entire area of the map for a good amount of time. 10 seconds long now is the duration of that. Much more about blanket area denial. Damage comes in a little bit slower, but if you stay under it, you take more than before. And there's an engram being warped in on the ledge.
And a Stargate.
There we go. Starting to see more tech as the second Grand Library is up for Btyb, but he's not using it just yet.
It's kind of, well... Btyb is also making a Stargate. 2 Stargates.
Oh, okay.
What is going on here?
They've got each other's script. They are stream
They're sniping each other.
Yeah. Well, this is a very important engagement here, and I think Ben is going to be sorely mistaken if he
Engram is going to just cause him a lot of headaches.
And he's not scouting to the left either for that Nexus. So
no, he has no idea. It's literally undefended. He could take it right now if he wanted to.
Yep.
Well, maybe forcing the fight wouldn't be a good idea, but he definitely could put himself on that ramp and force Keen to come to him. Oh, he's going to come in just as...
yeah, just as the engram finishes. So the longer this fight goes, we do have the Cantabus being selected. Where's the Psystorm? Going to be targeted onto that Atreus, forcing the units further up from Btyb. He has to make a decision as to whether he wants to commit to the fight. Heralds are sounding off here, keeping the attack rate up for these units.
He's taking a lot of his own damage right now.
Yeah, he is. He's actually moving his Cantabus through it, but luckily it didn't end up taking much damage.
That extra storm damage really helped him out, actually.
Yeah.
It helped Btyb out quite a lot. And he's managing to hold his ground just for a little while here.
Yeah, trying to use the Ecclesiasts to keep himself alive. So that army fight did actually go really neither player's way. There's 5 more Zealots charging in, though.
It's a question to be able to finish off some of these units here, but Kian's got a couple idle units just chilling out there he can make use of. There we go, they're coming.
Yeah.
Just right in time to trap that Dracoden.
Yep, perfect. Another Psystorm going down, blanketing that area. The longer they sit and fight that Zealot and Dracoden combo, well, not unless they go right through there.
Kian's killed just as many. Oh no, the Ecclesiast too.
Yeah, there
he goes. Killed just as many. He's got to use the Artisan. The Artisan is the ultimate battle unit.
He can attack the Ecclesiast. Yeah, he's hitting the Ecclesiast from a good range here.
Yep, he's tickling him.
He doesn't. Yeah, Ben has no idea. He's going to lose the Ecclesiast. One more shot will do it.
One down.
All right.
Now he just work on those Zealots.
Now remember, there's still an almost 20 worker deficit here that Btyb is working through. An Ardent Authority to warp in, probably proxy a Cantor drop or something, is coming in the top left. This base in the top middle is still up.
Are on the way to his main, and a single Atreus marches across the map.
Crab life. The Panoptises must have finished.
Oh,
they're
no.
in the they're in the
worker
in the
count
main.
is slowly being chiseled down.
Now, what is he going to do against this? He has an Exemplar. It does not attack air units. He has Zealots and Amaranths. They do not attack air units.
Moving the workers would be a good start, actually.
Yes.
They are getting in a lot of kills now. That's 10 kills and climbing rapidly.
Yeah,
He
I
is
mean,
not
remember,
responding.
the worker count
They're
was only
just-
20. He's
killing him.
I don't know what he's up to here, but he's now figured it
you
out.
gotta pull the lads. It's a massacre.
Get the boys off the
Cantavis
line.
has arrived. That's a juicy amount of gas he can pick. There it is.
Yeah, okay, see you
One
later.
down. God, these Panoptises have already well paid for themselves.
Oh yeah, big time. This is a real
The damage
lackadaisical
just
response here from Kian.
Kian's trying to make some Drakidins, okay, but just move the worker. Miss them. You got a gnat that's unsaturated.
Yeah, they could use them.
Kian.
The Artisan could try to defend them. Second Ardent Authority up there in the top left. Neither of them have trained anything. He could march across the map with his ground-based army at the very least, right? But he's not going to do that either. Drakidins are just about done. None of them rallied in the right direction. Atreus going to finish soon after.
17 and 15 kills and rising.
Look
It's
at the
an
worker
absolute
counts.
Massacre.
Btyb is ahead now just based off of that and has a third base of his own.
Kian.
This is why you pull your workers.
Kian. What's up, man? Maybe he doesn't know. Okay, no, he knows. He just decided not to pull him back. I don't know. Oh, they're on hold position.
Yep, they are. And outranged by all of that, so.
The one attacked from a mile away because of the hold position bug, but...
Oh, no, one of them walked in to range. To the leftmost one, I'm pretty sure.
Well, the one that was closer didn't seem like it was attacking.
Maybe I missed it then. But either way, there's some scribe massacres happening in the top middle. Btyb might take this game.
Yeah, he could. Kian is losing grip of the situation here. He is making some shoes, and he does have an architect in the top left, but they're not going to be able to contribute too much to the game at this point.
Yeah,
God,
it feels
there are
like
so
with the
many dead
idle
workers.
Panoptises and the from the Stargates there for Btyb could just as easily ward off the assault if they close the distance, which they kind of have to do to attack anyway.
He's gotta start replenishing his workers too, and
he does have the
put,
worker
like-
production queue advantage, right? He's got 2 embassies, 3 nexuses, so he can do it. And the engram is still here, softening up quite a few of these units. The splash damage from the Atreus and
it's
the 2
gonna
exemplars.
die to the Panoptises immediately because it was attacking the ground units.
Absolutely. The exemplars can be sniped now.
Are gonna get sniped. Yeah,
absolutely. And the zealots are
this is
kept
gonna be
alive despite it all because of all the ecclesiasts. So the splash damage wasn't enough and wasn't concentrated. This is undoubtedly game.
Kian was in a commanding position all the way up until he allowed the Panoptises to slowly scrape his butt using nothing but a rusty spoon. And now, only now is he starting to replenish workers in the main. Not sure what happened, but I feel like he kind of like had a brain fault at that point in the game where he just really wasn't sure what to do.
It's very
And
inexplicable.
he did nothing.
Yeah.
He did nothing is really the big thing. Like, he could have done something, but he didn't do anything.
Any action there would have been something. But the artisan's going to come down to the bottom right and only just to find the scribe.
Oh, tickle him, tickle him. Yeah, tickle him.
Oh, but he puts a nexus down anyway.
Oh, he didn't finish him.
Middle
He's trying
right.
to build a nexus in the bottom. Kian's still holding on here. I mean, he does have a couple units in the top left, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to hold out for a while here.
No, I think this is pretty clearly. It's been discovered by the Panoptis. He knows something's up. My opponent hasn't GG'd yet. So he's just going to start massing up. And in fact, just by proxy of not GGing, he might think to himself, oh, wait, maybe my opponent has a lot more than I think. But Three Crow's notorious a little bit here for staying in games much longer than is advisable. And, to some degree, you can't fault somebody for that. But we can see here, this game is very much over.
Yeah, there's so many Panoptises. I mean, hypothetically, they might die to the Architects, but not when the Architects are all out in front.
Yeah, they would
The
have to be
Architects
behind.
would need a couple volleys to chisel him down, and here we go. Oh, he is actually going to pull back, which gives him some nice free damage.
Yeah. Trading, 2 Panoptises for an Architect is almost cost efficient, though, and you don't have to be even remotely close to that with the position that Btyb is currently in.
Well, a lot of the Panoptises are kind of injured now, so depending on the positioning here, you might be able to kill them if they come in anywhere near them, but not. He wisely goes for the worker line instead.
Yep.
The Atriuses are just going to take some damage, but just sort of force them way in.
Yeah, I mean, the Architects are busy with the ground units, and that gives the Panoptists free reign over the static defense. And at that point, there's really nowhere for the Architects to fall back to. So, you know, it was going to be a tough fight for him to win anyway.
These Panoptists were focusing on the Wardens instead of killing the real damage dealers. And the ground army did die, except for just a few stragglers. So the attack, really, he should have focused on the Architects and just ignored the Wardens. But
yeah. Well, that's what the Zealots are here for,
enough to do this on their own.
Right,
so.
yeah. And, you know, he can
just kind of split.
The squad that's across the bridge can just be A-moved into this base, and that'll be GG. Almost certainly, and we'll move on to whatever map 3 Crow is interested in picking. And you can see here just the Panoptis closing the gap. They had Atrius doing some splash. There's one Architect left to 3 Crow's name. He's got more on the way, but there's many more units from Btyb88 storming in.
Too many units at this point. Not enough shoes. Was found shoeless and wanting.
Glorious death achieved, perhaps, but 3 Crow is going down 0-1 in this initial score here. That was an opener. That was that felt longer than it was, actually. You know, it wasn't even 20 minutes long, but we got to see some pretty interesting tech, right? So we'll wait for 3 Crow to select map 2. And I actually did get DF to fix the music bug where we exit a multiplayer match. This is a Blizzard bug, and it doesn't replay the title music, so that'll be nice. I can't believe that's something that... I think they didn't even fix that in Remastered. Equilibrium is selected by the 3 Crow Man. We will jump into that. There are plans to replace multiple maps in the next tournament. Equilibrium will be one of them, but for now, we get to experience what it has to offer. It is a map where you can take your natural fairly safely. I would describe it as a rather low econ map, though, because it's really hard to take a third. We've talked about this before in group play. We'll see what these players have to do on this, because we actually did see third bases and even sneaky bases, but this is a much more compact map than Repulsion. Our players are nearly ready. In fact, they are ready. Let's get into it. Btyb leads the series 1-0. This is a best of 5, of course. We will see who claims victory and goes on to be blessed by Mysterious Meat.
The meaty meat. I'm not sure what happened in that game. It seemed like Keen was in a good position.
Absolutely.
The second the Panoptists came out, it just completely fried him. And he kind of choked and deadlocked instead of all he really had to do was just pull the workers to the Nat.
Yep.
And he had enough Wardens in there that was going to deter them. It was only 2 of them at the time. They weren't going to do anything to the 3 Wardens, and if they were, it was going to take a while. They weren't going to do anything about the Engram and the other Warden on the other ledge. And instead, they were just allowed to kill 30-plus workers, completely kill half of his economy or more, because his other bases weren't really that saturated. And he didn't even like their... And then the Cantavis went up there and just kind of died.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he used the Cantavis, it's not like Storm was going to kill them.
Yep, absolutely.
So I'm not really sure. I think that he was also very unsure, but even a panic response so quickly transferring would have been better than doing nothing.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. Maybe he can reset now and we can talk about how he's going to plan to come back. He is going to be going for a low ground wall. Interesting as an option versus Protoss. Especially versus a double gate lover. But, you know, Ecclesiasts are fairly short range.
It's very, very hard to wall in this because of the different structure sizes as well. As I don't think I have yet to make a successful wall. Maybe once.
Protoss have it a little bit easier with pylons, but the placement here is a little bit off. So the second gateway is here. That is 100% still walkable on the right-hand side. He is going to have to be aware of that if he's intending to make the wall happen. He might even get an easy demonstration if he walls off like this, only for Btyb88's scribe to slip out either in the top side, or even his own scribe might do it, as a matter of fact. Yeah, right through the Warden.
He was working on it.
Yeah. He's trying to tickle that pylon. It's not double Mason pull. And in fact, it's actually going to be a Zealot opener now. They're about the same rate of movement as the Legionnaire, and a lot tankier. So we'll see what they happen to do here. Zealot of 3 Crows own starting. That Warden will be taking some damage pretty soon, but I think the Zealot should finish in time, and the Warden itself should finish in time, but if he just walks right by,
just ignores them.
then that's where you can start to get into an awkward position. There was nobody manning the would-be wall anyway. This is already coming into a bit of an awkward spot here, but this Zealot is taking a lot of damage from the Scribe drill. And meanwhile, Btyb88's own Scribe has already fallen. So this is doing some pretty good effective pull. He's actually going to lose the Zealot without getting a single Scribe kill. The best he can say is that he denied mining for a little bit.
Really, what he needed to do was pull away, force the Scribes to go back to mining or waste time, and then just come back and then just keep doing that over and over. But once he gets surrounded by them, it's death by 1,000 tickles.
This should signal to Btyb that maybe he should look to simply establish a contain or a front post and then go for an expansion, because it's unlikely that his opponent is going to feel safe enough to spend 400 minerals on a Nexus anytime soon. In fact, 3 Crow putting down a defensive pylon makes me think he's going to go for static defense in the main, worried about maybe another run-by or air unit pivot. So that will set 3 Crow even further behind. We'll see if Draconins can get through this formation either. I'm not sure that they can. Maybe on the right-hand side of that gateway, though.
Well, I think Kian's pretty safe here. Should be safe as long as the well, if the it's just Zealots. So if it was Legionnaires and one of them got through and tapped the Warden, they could all just appear on top of it and nuke it, and then you're in kind of a bad situation. Yeah. But it is just Zealots.
There's 2 Legionnaires on the way. One already has arrived, and a third in the queue, as well as a Stargate. Early Stargate with a third gateway. Ben's not going to have enough macro to actually, like, enough income to support all of that. But it's definitely something that I'm interested in seeing, whether or not it'll go down. Because is the Stargate even going to come into fruition? There's a pretty large-scale army being formed out here outside of the... And a Stargate for 3 Crow as well. You were talking about it earlier, Mesk. These guys are mirroring each other somehow. Defensive Warden in the main of Btyb. No such thing here.
Yeah, it's funny how they both have gone to Stargate at around the same time in both games. In Kian's case, in the first game, he wanted Exemplar to deal with the ground-heavy army.
Yep.
But Btyb just went straight to Panoptises instead. And the Exemplar would have made a difference if they didn't die immediately to Panoptises, regardless of everything else that was going on. It's just... Well, I mean, the tech is condensed, so you can kind of see that. But in the first game, I actually felt like a hard switch to Pariahs or another unit like that. Ancestral Archives might have been better, too. But I think it was like Kian had the bases to do that, but the gas and everything wasn't really saturated. So that kind of tech switch was definitely not viable for him at the point. Of course, losing all of his workers soon after that fact really didn't help either. But it was just funny to see them go straight to Stargate in both cases, and now they're going to do the same thing. And Kian's getting it at Panoptis, and Btyb is getting a Panoptis.
Yeah, Btyb's Panoptis is nearly done. There was I think a Warden being made above the Stargate here, but it was canceled by 3 Crow. And that was so that he could afford to put down his Nexus. So in this case, we're probably going to give him the economic advantage yet again. Whereas obviously Btyb has just been hard producing off of a single base. Doesn't really have the money to go for an expansion unless he starts cutting a lot of military, which he doesn't seem too interested in doing. His Panoptis is going to be here, and it will scout out his opponent's Panoptis, which will now have an advantage on the attacks. And so that will force the recovery.
Mm. This Panoptis was going to have a hard time getting in anyway. There is a very exposed southern portion to that, but there is a single Draconin which could hypothetically ward it off with some micro.
Yep. So
I have a feeling you're just going to see Btyb like ditch Panoptises at this point, or at least not invest too much heavily into it. Maybe land effects would be a good choice, because you can put them on top of the melee units. But it does take some spacing. And it is actually going to be a land effect, so that transition was, I guess, sort of telegraphed. I mean, you may as well use it. But again, it is kind of hard to use. They can just move out of it. But since it is a walled position he's using against, I think he's looking to siege that as soon as possible. The Draconin kind of dies for nothing, which really doesn't help.
Yeah, it wasn't being microed there. Now, the Panoptises are about equally bruised, but there's not really much anti-air over here. So some Scribes are undoubtedly going to fall. Another Drakadin or two would be very appreciated here. The Ecclesiast gets pulled from the front. There's actually another one there, but not being used. And there's a small sortie here, but also an Aquifer. So Kian's definitely going to be playing the more economic-focused game here. And this Nexus is not even close to being done right now. About 75% of the way there. At the same time, you don't really want your air units stretching out too far away. You can see here the Land Effect has activated Disruption Field. And there's not really much anti-air for it because those air units were not at the front. So at this point, obviously the Land Effect does get pulled away at some point by 4 micro.
It's
so
not
the
really in a good
in.
spot. It's not stopping. It's stopping the gateway and the pylon from attacking.
Yes.
Now it's stopping his own units from attacking.
It is stopping the air units crucially, and they haven't been microed out, so that will now be refocused. And it finally does go down. It was stopping his own Panoptus there that was on the low HP value. I think, yeah, at this stage, we are seeing a very decided victory, militarily speaking, and that's what can happen if you're not super cautious with your Land Effect positioning. Another idle Panoptus right there as well. Double Aurora production right now for 3-Crow. Seems to be wanting to see if he can overwhelm his opponents with sheer numbers. And he could easily go straight into, you know, like 6-7 Auroras, bust down the Warden in Btyb88's main and start wreaking havoc on the workers. But faring against the Panoptuses, that's going to be a little bit less effective, right? They only have 1 armor pen. Panoptuses do have 1 armor. Much more durable. But you're seeing some Wardens being added here just to ward off.
He might have been able to snipe one of those Wardens, but he didn't want to commit against the Auroras, I guess.
Yeah, I was worried about some kind of reaction. Much more Legionnaires coming, but only Legionnaires. So really not putting out too much more here for his Btyb. Trying to saturate his base, but he's behind by workers in terms of 5 workers right now.
Oh, this Panoptus is... okay.
he's got a rally over there.
There.
Yeah, and... Yeah, I mean, his opponent has double Stargate, so he's eventually going to be outproducing him in terms of both Panoptuses and Auroras. Right now, it's just Panoptuses based off of the extra macro advantage that 3-Crow has. He does have an idle Scribe at the front. I'd expect maybe a Matrix or an Engram or something over there, but for now, he's just content to have the 1 Warden that he rebuilt. In a better position now for his own army to exit the base.
An Engram would be really good in the front, but his economy is really hurting right now, so the gas costs from that, especially since he just lost a bunch of gas. Oh, no.
Yeah, the Panoptuses have snuck in from the bottom.
Again. It's happening again. 1 down.
Now, what is the response this time? He has an air fleet of his own. He sees the thing happen.
2 down.
He should definitely... Oh, he pulls the Scribes. That's better than nothing, right? Now, a trick you can do is obviously hotkey your Scribes onto like Control 0 or something. And maybe transfer them back. Yeah, at this point, we're probably going to see at least one of these Panoptuses get bopped here. Yeah, there you go. And another one is very bruised as well. So
they can get cornered, and you see Kian trying to move in for an early cutoff. This is a bad moment to be the B. But he gave him the slip.
Don't worry, a Land Effect is tickling the Panoptus.
Another Panoptus got rallied over there and barely survived.
Yeah, these two are going to get caught in the top 2.
Allowed him to kill up the last 2, and then that one died to the Land Effect.
Ooh.
So that was disastrous.
He has no air units.
Everything.
Yeah, he's only got the Legionnaires and the Ecclesiasts right now. And he does have a good number of them, but I don't think he's going to be able to overwhelm this position unless the air units aren't in the position as well.
Yeah, this area army can easily kill what he has standing there if he's not careful, or it could pressure his base. Keen doesn't realize it at the moment, but he has kill threat. He could end the game right now if he wanted to. It is still only Zealots being produced. A single Warden is all that defends Btyb88's main. He has nothing else on the entire map except for a handful of Ecclesiasts that can attack air units. If this air army was just a beeline straight to his base, he wouldn't be able to stop it.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's even a Land Effect or 2. And there is an Argosy on the way as well. So that will be Btyb88's domain there. He's looking to get into the heavy air. And off of 2 bases, you can definitely do this. There is a 3rd base being set up that did not get scouted just yet. But Kian will eventually have a critical mass of air units here. And he's got a pretty good, set of military as well that is on the ground. He's getting ready to move out here and take a big engagement. Only a single Ecclesiast, and here comes the Land Effects just disabling everything on the ground. They're moving around a little bit too flashy for my liking, considering his APM could be better spent on, force targeting those Ecclesiasts.
Well, as long as they're keeping the Ecclesiasts from attacking, which is pretty much what they were doing there, that's really what he needed. And then there is another Panoptus that got rallied into the base, barely escaping. And the other error part, Kian saw that one and came right around to finish it off.
Yeah, this is real dire here. There is an Empyrean being built, but it can just be focused down by all of the air.
It will not do anything against this.
Yeah.
You need a lot of them to even hope to fight against Panoptises. There's just way too much upfront damage.
Yeah, the third base is found. Instantaneous pop on that Warden. We are seeing 3Crow fight back and take this series. Almost certainly he's going to be tied up right now in the series. I really don't quite see how Btyb can hold back here. He's only got 2 Zealots, 3 Legionnaires as far as ground units go. He is warping an engram, but just one is not going to be enough.
I don't think it's even going to finish. If he comes in right now, it won't even finish.
And he's already waypointing his ground army into that
There's
location.
only one pile on there anyways. Like, he has his choice of targets, so the ground units alone are probably going to overwhelm it.
The Pyrian's finish does have splash damage, and all of the 3Crow's units do clump up, but it's so much overpowering position here. Yeah. GG's going to be called, and 3Crow will get on the board when picking his own map. Waiting for 3Crow's GG response to leave, I see. Well, there you go. We've got a tie series. We have a series, in fact. And I should point out as well, you know, Ben is somebody who isn't a supreme fan of long games, right? So he's probably going to be happy that his games haven't lasted too long so far, but we could get into some real barn burners later on. You know, we were talking about Infinite Velocity being in the map pool, as well as Otherworld. These are macro-oriented maps, and at least one of them has to be played now.
Yeah, both players kind of doing really risky all-in stuff in this. And Btyb, like, in that game, his rally needed, like, I have problems with those rallies all the time where units just end up at places they shouldn't. But then I eventually realized, oh yeah, the rally is not where it should be. I'm going to move that. And then... But he didn't do that, even though it just kept happening over and over and over again. So, and I find it kind of weird that he kept committing so heavily to like Zealots and Legionnaires, even though Kian continually demonstrated he was just gonna keep making air units. So Draconins would have been better at that point for sure.
As soon as you see the second Stargate, you have to be at least tangentially aware.
Yeah.
You know? Well, it was an interesting match either way, and it's nice to see 3Crow get a win, and it didn't even take 12 minutes, by the way. That's how quick it was. So, you know, we're seeing some action here in Ascension 4's quarterfinal. And due to the nature of Protoss, it does make them a little bit unpredictable. It's funny, then, that we obviously had the kind of mirrored openers with the Stargate timings and stuff. But you can see those differences start to add up. 3Crow clearly showing a penchant for moving up the macro ladder and getting more workers. You know, something I actually told him before when we were practicing. I was like, I'm ahead in workers just by focusing on training scribes every single time I hear the sound that they're done. You know, like that's just a thing that I can count on. And I didn't know that you were behind in workers by comparison, but there was a point where without even attacking him, I was up by 6 workers or something. And that's a case where it's like, clearly there's some, you know, inadequacies that it seems like he's actually ironed out given the situation. So he was able to definitely keep up and be ahead in worker counts in both of our maps so far. Repulsion didn't go his way. Maybe Otherworld will. We'll see whether Btyb has a reason in mind for picking this map. Although even his selection of the map is a little surprising to me. Because I look at it and I think to myself, you know, this is much more of a macro map unless you find a way to try to end the game really soon. And neither of our players have really attempted anything super cheesy. 3Crow's gone for a greedy opener in map 1. And wasn't really punished for it. He actually did get pretty far ahead because of it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But we're ready to get started. Oh, wait. He said ready and then didn't join the force. Owned, actually.
It's okay. We're going to see Btyb against the computer.
Yeah.
The toaster taps in.
That's a win for me. Yeah. Should count. All right, let's try that one again. Otherworld. This is the first time we'll see Protoss versus Protoss. Yes,
I recognize this map. This map involved hippogriffs.
It did, yeah. I blocked hippogriffs with lifted diadems. Benno was never the same. But
and, like the left side of the map was never really touched that much. I wonder if that'll be the case in this, or if we're gonna see. Kian send. No, never mind. I thought he was sending an early worker to fast expand all the way over to that.
Yeah.
What? Heck, Sex tough pool. gas income all the way.
About the
On
middle.
the far left.
Oh,
Yeah.
far left. Far left. Oh, yeah.
Far
yeah.
left.
It has a similar one, just like the dead center middle. It's a little bit more out of the woods. Yeah, I think you'd like this map because of how big it is. But
It's
obviously,
really silly.
you can
the cheese
go.
distance is quite high here, though. Like you
Yeah.
can cheese on this for sure.
Yep. That's
But
what I was going to say.
The mineral line's a little more defensible.
You look at this map and you think to yourself, okay, I can try to end the game in the early stages, and if it doesn't work out, I pivot out off to the left-hand side of the map and explore that area, right? And there is like a really long, passageway you can take if you want to try to go for a flank, but by the time you're actually there, I feel like, your enemy's at tier 3 tech or something, so it takes a while to get there. But to the surprise of no one, Btyb on the bottom here will be our blue Protoss, and he is up against the, what is this color? This is beige. And technically, Btyb is Palatinate Blue, for those keeping score. And yeah, he's going to go for his double gateway tried and true opener here. Oh no, I tell a lie. It's a lattice. Now, did 3Crow even select it? I'm not sure.
Does Can expect to be vassal rushed?
It could work out pretty well if he waypoints the vassals into the mineral line while trying to siege the frontier. He's even tickling the pylon again. He's got a.
I mean, think about it. If he got the pylon low enough, and it's a zealot that comes out, a vassal could come in and finish it off. And that would be annoying. It may not do much damage, but it'd be annoying. I like Kian's probe that is just chilling out. Oh, it begins.
What does it begin? We got a proxy, boys, and that Legionnaire was looking for the scribe.
He's
will he
looking
suspect
for
it?
him, but will he find out? Oh no! Oh no! Btyb has no idea that in that bitty corner
Yeah, itty
there
bitty.
is something dirty happening. But it's so far away, it's not going to be cannons. Is it going to be the Helltrix maneuver?
I hope so. He doesn't have any money for anything right now. He's actually adding a warden because he must have actually... Yeah, he must have scouted then that it was a lattice. The vassal was made a long time ago, but wasn't actually sent across the map. His
It could have killed that pylon a long time ago. Dramatic battle taking place here.
Well, there's a second Legionnaire, so this Zealot's mincemeat shortly. A little bit of micro could help Btyb. He wouldn't lose the Legionnaire if that was the case, but it doesn't look like... Yeah, 3Crow just wants to give it to him for free, I guess.
Yeah, well.
Vassal gets tickled to death. Well, almost
He's
to
a
death.
nice guy.
What's this pylon going to be? 3Crow's forgotten about it for now.
He had to build a word in there because Ecclesias wasn't enough to sass him out of existence forever.
Second lattice added. Is it going to be vassals? Btyb did
Could
tell
be
me
a lot
that
of vassals.
I was playing Protoss to help 3Crow practice, and he told me to build more vassals. So maybe he's taking his own advice. This chat really got me just now. Oh man,
It's a Stargate again.
It is a Stargate again. Why wouldn't it be?
Mass vassals.
But there's still
slowly
nothing back
amassing.
here. What is he gonna do back here?
I don't know. You know, maybe he just wanted to like put his feet down. Just camp out for a while.
This is the Protoss version of a campfire. Now
It's
we
like
do
a
have
houseplant.
we have 7 vassals. There's 2 more coming in, so it's going to be 7 total. That low HP one's leading the charge. One more pass by like that, and it's not going to be long for this world. You do see an attempted wall here, but you can slip through between the gateway, the pylon, warden trio there.
I mean, if he just keeps making vassals, he can ignore that and just go straight to the main. There is a Panoptis being made, but I mean, if you have like 30 vassals, they'll
It will
just
get
nuke it down
overwhelmed
instantly.
Yeah. There is a warden there. Obviously, it can be focused down, but this number of vassals can overpower a warden. There are 2 ecclesiasts, but if they leave, then maybe the ground army of 3 fearsome legionnaires and an ecclesiast is going to challenge it. But instead, they're just going to attack all together. So this could be a pretty big deal. Obviously, the vassals are focusing down the ecclesiasts, which are staying alive a little bit longer than expected. And the ground army was enough to overpower that. So this is a big surprise. The Panoptis is going to be out, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, there's still 8 vassals here. 2 more is actually down on the right-hand side, but they won't even be necessary.
Absolutely tickled. Oh!
I think, honestly, it sounds
flee.
like a meme, but the vassals were the real difference maker in that fight.
They really were. I mean, they do quite a bit of damage when there's that many of them.
Yeah. Particularly towards low armor targets, right? I mean, they don't have any armor pen. They deal 6 damage a pop. So if you don't have much armor yourself, like an ecclesiast, you're going to take full damage from each one of them. What's he going to do? He should be going for a land effect here for the splash, but he's not interested in that. Like, realistically speaking, the Warden can try to help with the Legionnaires and such. But, and the land effect...
no!
Oh my god!
He's setting up his own proxy.
And it's right in front of his face, too.
Actually, maybe he wants to help him power his gateway since he destroyed the pylon.
Yeah, if he allies him, it'll work. Still no land effect.
Panoptis is here.
Yeah.
No, he's not responding quite fast enough.
Well, he needs to pull back that low damage Panoptis. Yeah, it's gonna pop. That's really heartbreaking. If 3 Crow could have kept at least one of those alive, that would have been something. He's trying to focus down the Warden, but he's not gonna be here. LMAO, GG, and Btyb88 fires back.
Destroyed by his own vassals.
Yeah, 3 Crow is supposed to use the vassals, not be killed by them.
How could it end like this, vassal bros?
I know, but like, also, why didn't he use his proxy? I'm assuming he's going to go ahead and select Nightfall. He drilled this map with me. If he wins, we go to Infinite Velocity Decider, but I'll wait until
probe
he
it.
actually
I mean, prove it, lol. I got something you can probe, daddy.
It is Nightfall, so Infinite Velocity will be our decider. Pretty mega.
That will be cheesy.
Well, that's assuming 3 Crow wins this, so we'll see. Btyb is reaching for the victory champagne already.
He needs to drink. He's got to bust out the hard brandy for this one.
I just can't believe Barisa thought that this was pre-recorded. How would we have the chat on the screen then? But don't worry. These are questions you never really get proper answers to.
It's okay, and the proper answer is laxatives.
I thought you were going to say vassals.
Well, I mean, vassals are kind of like laxatives. They're a cleanser, just like jail crystals. You got to charge them up, and they help you charge up.
And I agree there, Mr. Tigor. I think you definitely were hoping for that proxy to do something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was about. Maybe he wanted to do something, but it turned out to be more pressure than he expected.
Mm. I feel like if you imagine if he put that Stargate, I mean, it would have ended even worse. But I like to imagine a proxy Stargate of all things.
It's not like Terran where you can just make a bunch of Akmans.
Mm-hmm.
And then Akman is more dangerous when he's closer and can just run in there. With Protoss, it's like the only thing that's going to quickly deal a lot of damage at that point is something that's expensive, like an Acantor that comes out of an expensive building, and you're not really going to be proxying too early on with it.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Btyb is in the top left, which is not where he played when I practiced against him.
Immediately to gas.
Immediately.
On Kian.
Yeah, 3 Crow is in the bottom right. He'll be our Ultramarine Protoss, deep blue, and then there's the Glacial light blue Protoss of Btyb. Both of them going for early pylons near their Nexus.
What's this early gas going to be for?
What's this early APM going to be for?
Well, that early APM is him getting into the gamer zone. You know that when you're in the gamer zone, you got to lean forward. That means you're taking it seriously. He doesn't want to get cheesed out again. But he's going to do something cheesy because look at this gas income. What's it going to be? Is it going to be another embassy first? Or is he going to go straight to... Oh, he stopped at 80 gas. What's it going to be?
So there's only a couple of things that are 75 gas. That is Embassy, Rogue Gallery, off the top of my head. So it's probably Embassy. It's 200 minerals for that. 150 for the Rogue Gallery. So, but if this is going to be a military-based cheese, I think it would have had to get underway before the minute mark. And yeah, he's moving over to drop the Embassy, so it will be that first. All right.
It's ballsy. It didn't work out the first time.
I think it gave him ahead. It put him ahead, but he just sort of choked versus the Panoptises, right? Killing like 30 workers or whatever in the main. Really quite a sight to behold.
But the problem with it was is that for one, the base wasn't scouted. For two, he went like triple warden in that base before it even started mining. So ultimately, it would have been much more efficient for him just to take an early natural and defend that instead.
Yes, yeah.
The investment didn't really help him that much. It was just like Btyb wasn't able to punish it that well, and really choked on killing the warden and kind of fed all the early pressure or advantage he otherwise had by that. So if he doesn't go a fast artisan in this case, and either do a cheese or I don't know, but anyways, a fast expand off to the corner, unless he like actually saturate really fast, I don't think it's going to make a difference. But it is only a single gateway at the. What is Btyb doing?
He's pulling the boys. He's got 4 scribes on the way to try to bust this because he saw it was a warden. There's 2 wardens happening over here. This is about to get silly, boys.
It's a fast Stargate on top of it. This is going to be dumb.
I love this.
He didn't see them. He didn't see them get pulled. He's still scouting. He didn't see them. I don't know if he even will note that the worker count dropped really substantially.
Yeah, he should be
You'll
raising
see that
an eyebrow,
Stargate, though.
He will see the Stargate. The Zealot charges in, takes a shot. Not sure.
I don't know. You know, the double warden will hold this off, I think.
I don't know what
this
Ben's
one's going to be
thinking.
long done.
What has Ben thinking?
Like, he'll just get surrounded. But if he does some kind of damage...
This is even going to get scouted here because of that scribe positioning, although 3Crow isn't responding.
Kian is putting cannons in his face!
Yes, add to it, buddy. Now 2 workers will kill the warden, so that's...
He's got to defend that.
But look, the warden, the warden in Kian's base, though. It's being
It's
popped.
going to kill the Zealot.
It's killing the Zealot. Okay. All right, I think it's if there's any reaction here, there's going to be some kind of...
Btyb has the Zealot out in his face dealing with these wardens. He manages to cancel the second one and escape.
1 scribe has killed that warden.
The tism has been applied. Scribes are idling everywhere. A Panoptis is being made. The 1 warden in Kian's base was destroyed, but at what cost?
My goodness. Well, the cost of 4 more. 3Crow's tournament life is on the line. And he's got a pylon scouting this. This pylon is revealed.
There are more Btyb scribes still chasing the other one across the map with the Zealot. I don't know if he even realizes that that's happening right now.
I am actually flat. I can't believe this is
These
happening.
Wardens are going to finish long before anything of any danger enters Kian's base.
And a lattice. He's adding a lattice. He's only harvesting minerals. He's going to lattice. He's just going to vassal. That's all he needs. Vassals
as well.
Yeah, vassals and wardens. Why not? What else you need?
I mean, your opponent is so far behind at this point. You can double lattice this and commit.
He just figured out his scribes.
Yeah. An engram in his space. Mark my words, he's building an engram here. He has the money if he wants to do it, and it will outrange the cannons, I'm pretty sure. Oh, the Panoptis has arrived.
And there is indeed a gap in this defense. That pylon is the only one powering the warden on the right-hand side. But obviously there's another pylon here. So
the lattice has completed.
He could have popped that warden that was pretty close.
He needed the wardens to go down.
And there is an engram.
Still get them.
I am on it. This is the best game. What else? What else would you need?
Tism.
Here's the vassal, the hero vassal.
The vassal has arrived.
And leading him back to the... Oh no, look, the engram is revealed. 3Crow isn't looking. He doesn't know.
But what can he do about it, though? Like, even if he knows about it...
Yeah, what's he got?
All that might do is tilt him at this point.
Well, I don't know. I might kill that top warden, but I don't think it has any other range.
No, maybe not.
He's going to have to creep forward with engrams.
He's going to creep forward on his 15 workers. Many of which who are not doing anything useful right now because...
It might hit the embassy. I think it can hit the embassy from here. If you look at the preview. So...
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. But that's it. That's the extent of it.
A slow stack of vassals is being created. He can make a 3rd lattice here.
He should. He's only...
With these vassals, he better not try to dive that engram.
He's trying.
Oh no, don't do it, don't! Oh, it was a disaster. Diving...
Sorry, he only lost, what,
You gotta
2?
ignore the engram, man. It's what's it gonna do? It's gonna kill the structure. It's not doing you hardly any good anyways.
Honestly, I mean, 3Crow is so far ahead with workers. He has more than double the workers of Btyb. He should realistically just be like, add more. I need more. I need more of these. He's building a grand library. He's going to build amaranths to take on that engram, and when the amaranths surround it, it can't shoot the vassals. So that's the plan, I think. But he shouldn't
all
even.
he really has to do is just build enough vassals to force out the Panoptises and then just kill his main.
Yeah, I don't know why
Like
he
the
isn't just
engram,
flying
you just
across
ignore
the map.
it.
There's
You
no.
don't win by fighting it.
There is no static defense here for Btyb. If those vassals just leave the base.
He's gonna start.
Oh
duping
my
Simulacrum.
goodness! No way, dude. No. Oh my god. What is Btyb gonna do? He's dealing 2 damage per hit. Like if it's microed correctly, you only take like a small amount of damage to the hull.
Oh,
Here comes a bad rally.
It's the rally point again.
It's dead.
Oh no. Btb's got to hold on with every little bee he's got. He's going to charge in.
Engram's not targeting the right unit.
Engram. He's not focusing the engram, but his units do such little damage against it anyway.
Okay, well, it's less than half HP, or just about half HP, and Amaranth is on the way, along with golems for the front line. So this is going to be a real...
Just focused on the pylon instead. It has less armor. There's only one pylon powering this stack of Btb's.
There's gateways being made locally, and he's just continuing to make sims for free.
I still get the extra simulacrum. Easy clap. Easy clap. He's making some golems now.
Yeah, the golems are going to be for the front line to absorb the engram shots. They're very, very durable units. And then here comes the Amaranth as well. He can move with this force. He can absolutely just charge in with this. He knows what he's got.
I don't think he has any kill pressure on those Panoptises, but he might be able to get rid of the engram.
Yeah, absolutely. The engram's going to go down here. Golems will also deal splash to the zealots, but I'm not sure if that's going to come into factor here. Sims are pretty bruised and focusing the ground units as opposed to the air. One of the Panoptises will go down.
Now.
Yep. Yeah, that's going to go down.
Goes down.
I think the scribe is evacuating the scene of the crime here. This Panoptis is being targeted. It was hard for me to tell because they're deal so little damage.
Die, I think, just
barely from the last one. But another one has arrived.
But another one has arrived.
And there's only Sims on the way, so they spy the peeping toms down there, the zealot and the scribe. Can he keep his Dracoden alive? There's more golems on the way. They're going to target down the pylon. Oh, and the Dracoden dies to a warden. Honestly, what a game. He should cancel the zealot that's in the gateway before it dies. But
this Panoptis can stay. It can keep killing these military units. They have no way to attack it.
Yeah. He's
got to thin out Kian's numbers before a counterattack comes. He's been traumatized by the vassals. He's scared of vassals now.
There's more lattices. Yes. It's still only minerals. He's starting to harvest a little bit of gas now, so he can maybe add something else. And he's adding more wardens. Why not?
Additional.
Btyb going for an expo. That's ballsy.
May as well.
This is probably the highlight PvP match that I think we've seen. Protoss versus Protoss. I am not really able to give you much analysis on this one. I mean, what is there to be said?
Just keep making wardens and pray. He's building a temple.
Is he gonna add more? No, never mind. That was just a
I don't know. He needs to start adding some vassals.
It's all Sims right now. Here come the Panoptises. There is one warden that is... No, I don't think so, man. I don't think you can do anything here. Now, I wish he just flew over the base of Suicide and saw, like, only wardens. Because that really would have been perfect. Like, just the fact that there's so... How many? We almost have to draw... Oh, yep, we have 12. There are 12 wardens, by the way, in 3-Crow's base. Now, these
not thinking that.
Yeah, the Panoptises are getting tickled there. Good reaction.
Not really the counter you would expect.
There are more on the way. Nexus is almost done. Still almost half the workers of 3-Crow, so macro department-wise, he's doing pretty well. Man.
Yeah, just pumping it out. And if you ever manage this to expand, you'll have a good transfer. Instead, he's...
Yeah, why not? Just add more.
There's a hole over here. I better plug it.
I can't believe this. And adding the embassy again. Needs more workers.
It's okay. You know, Btyb is going to go for the Grand Library.
Dude.
I'm not sure that's the best choice in this. Storm could be helpful, but it also may just make a Sim-splosion.
Yeah.
I don't think Atreus do enough splash to deal with this, but they are beefy, and I don't think they're going to do anything against Amaranths. This is a bona fide you got to go all in moment, because there's going to be a lot of shit and assault vessels are coming.
Oh, yes. They're not rallied correctly, so they're not going to go join the fight immediately. Panoptises are still moving around.
Just
Yeah.
chilling out over there.
So what do we have here? We've got 10 Sims, 2 Golems, 7 Amaranths, and just a handful of, vassals, of course.
It is going to be an Atreus. I don't know if it's going to really do too much good against this
squad. No, this squad
army
is just too much. I mean, so Btyb88 has better income thanks to his split of workers as far as minerals go, but I don't think that's going to be enough, man. There's too much already over here.
If he pulled back his other Panoptises, he would have 5 of them total. That would be a fairly substantial chunk of damage that could definitely help a lot. But he might forget about those other 2 when he really needs them.
Yeah, they're not probably on any sort of group here. And the vassals are going to get focused down. That's going to allow the rest of the army to close the gap a little bit faster thanks to the vassal passive. Shields have been popped on multiple Panoptises, but only one of them is being focused down, looks like. And yeah, okay, so the Panoptises are about to go kaput. There's a lot of damage coming out of that Atreus. You could see the melee units were being force targeted onto the air, so they just kind of spun out and didn't do much. So that's bad control by 3Crow, but I don't think it really matters. GG is called, and we're going to infinite velocity for Game 5.
I thought Infinite Velocity was going to be the cheesiest game. But right out of the gate, we just got full-on fucking 4 cheese salami there.
Beautiful.
That's just goofy. It almost worked, but the engram just really wasn't close enough.
Well, I don't think Ben wanted to be here. Infinite Velocity is the largest map that we have. If he can't close the map in the early game using that Nidus or something else, he's in for a pretty prolonged affair, I feel like. I mean, maybe 3Crow closes it fast too. But my God, man. After the antics of the last match, all bets are off. This is a map where you can comfortably go that embassy first. As long as you have some kind of protection, around 4 minutes is when the Nidus will pop. I'll say this again in the game in case people are skipping around on the VOD and stuff, but like that's a case, man. Like there's a potential for either one of these players to go, but Ben wants to close it soon.
Well, after that cheese fest, there's either going to be a diversion to save play or a doubling down.
Well,
who's gonna double down?
Who is gonna double down? If I were 3Crow, I would just stand back and say, you know what?
He weathered the cheese a few times now.
Yeah.
He's been able to repel that. He might feel more comfortable about that embassy opening, even though it really wasn't much of an impact on that game in particular. But in this map, maybe. But he has to be prepared because Btyb has shown that he wants to be cheesy. But Btyb might be too afraid of choking out the last game on cheese. So he might just go for something more standard. But, I mean, this is the fucking map with Niduses.
Yes.
What is standard on this map?
Well, electric blue Protoss on the left, that's 3Crow. Mahogany, brown reddish, that's Btyb, right-hand side. These Atlases burn down at 4 minutes if left unperturbed. Niduses connect the bases much faster by ground. Air units cannot use Niduses in CMBW. So that's unchanged from StarCraft 1.
Btyb scouted substantially earlier. I wonder if he expects a cheese. I think he should.
Well, 3Crow has the same amount of gas as before, a little bit more than that, in fact. So a little bit of an unoptimized opener here. It's almost certainly going to be Embassy again.
Yeah.
And what can you do against it? When you've gone gate first, which 3Crow will discover soon, what can you realistically do versus an Embassy first on a map like this, where the closest thing you can realistically do for damaging is by busting down Atlases, which have a pretty healthy amount of armor. But Btyb doesn't even bother scouting. Pylon in here, doubling down without even confirming that it is an Embassy first. And on top of it all, this Embassy is blocking a little bit of mineral returns. So that'll be a little bit less efficient there.
Well, this is going to be his first structure, which is going to be, a gateway.
Well, he's got a gateway back at home as well, so that might just be for show. It is producing an Ecclesiast because, well, you could always use those, and also because 3Crow's going to scout that.
He's going to make maybe a Zealot out of this net proxy, and then it'll be done by the time the Ecclesiast gets there, maybe.
Zealots train a little bit faster, but obviously the gate's not done yet. However, there's already defensive pylon and a Warden on the way. So I think 3-Crow is actually going to be immunized against this. I don't really see how he can possibly, fall to even a proxy of this nature.
It wouldn't surprise me if he just goes like double, triple Warden at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily going to work against a more experienced player, but against Btyb, who seems to be...
I mean, if I am Kian and I'm in here and I see this Ecclesiast out and the gateway is not still spinning and there's only one up.
Yeah.
And you just came out of that shit show, it's actually going to be a Dracodon first and not even a Zealot.
Yep.
Pylon.
That's there to scout, and it also occupies the Ecclesiast if Btyb actually wants to keep it. So
it's not being transferred over, so that's probably kind of telling.
Yeah.
Double Warden now, but that's not going to protect the mineral line very well.
That's all right. There's another one in the back.
There's another one. Okay.
Now
there's the Dracodon, and it just popped out of literally buttfuck nowhere. So where did it come from?
Well, he can just abandon this area over here. There's just barely this angle where the embassy is going to be tickled to death. But, if your embassy, you can send like a scribe over there to start proccing flash shielding when the Dracodon attacks something else, right? Where's he going? What's he doing? He's pulling all the boys. He's going to kill it. He's going to kill it. But there is also an Ecclesiast was made. He sees the gateway. However, the Dracodon's going to get surrounded here. So there goes that. Another one's going to be started.
One down.
Now
you don't need to chase the Ecclesiast, man.
He wants to kill this pylon. He knows that. The problem is this Nidus is done, and this is a Dracodon and Ecclesiast waiting on the other side. Like the Nidus is about to pop. So this is actually really quite bad for 3-Crow.
Yeah,
he needs to pull his workers back. He needs to just get back to mining and build some units, but.
Oh, this Ecclesiast. Oh, no.
Oh, it just barely. Yeah.
He almost slipped on the vomit in the ball pit, but he managed to get out.
The gateway is taking most of the aggro. Another Dracodon's out. When is Ben going to realize the Nidus is open for business?
Oh, no. The Ecclesiast falls.
Is dead.
One down.
This pylon's about to die to one scribe because everything was attacking the gateway instead. So there you go. It's finally dead. And there's a proxy warden in the bottom. It has descended into utter cheese. He's pulling all the boys. He's just going to kill. Listen, he's got scribe production for days. I mean, if he kills that scribe, no, he didn't focus it. No, not enough. Just kill the warden. You're too far committed. You lost 8 scribes to that bad boy.
He's only 3 workers behind.
Yeah.
Here's how he can still win.
I think this is going to be. Surely this has to be GG. The wardens aren't being focused onto the same unit, so 3-Crow really tried to emphasize the static defense, but he also, you could say the downfall of this game and game 1 were workers. And Btyb, my man, I think you just qualified to meet.
You just qualified to meet. That's it. That's all you need is a meet.
What a mess.
Now, Btyb would just realize, yes, he was looking at that Nidus. He's bringing in another worker.
GG is called, and that will be Btyb claiming victory over 3-Crow.
Absolutely cheesed. Utterly cheesed.
I mean, obviously, 3-Crow is not going to be happy with that performance, but he did go embassy first 3 out of the 5 games in this 5-game series. And he didn't scout around his base to check for the gateway. And, he told me a story about how he practiced against Btyb, and one of the games that he lost was due to a proxy gate in his base that he didn't scout, or in, the general vicinity or whatever. Well, happened in the tournament play as well, unfortunately for him. And that will indeed be... Well, no, that's not true, Kian. We can even watch the replay. You had your first static defense structure up before his gateway was finished. We'll just go ahead and check that out real quick. You had your embassy up, halfway done before his gateway came down.
I'm not a firm believer of embassy first, I have to say.
Yeah, I think it has to be paired with, I mean, if he scouts this when the pylon goes down, he can just chase the scribe around forever. And even if the gateway does get down, well, what's the big deal? Your pylon and warden combo can finish before the gateway can finish if you wanted to do that play. But yeah, this was just a very greedy play, right? So Yeah, the scribe was left. I think it was like the 8th worker or the 7th worker, so it was pretty early on in the game. So unfortunately, the greed play does not work out. 3 Crow will be dreaming, and that will be our first playoffs match concluded. Mesk, was it everything you were hoping for?
Yes, it was precisely as stupid and cheesy as I was expecting. Let's hope that Meat continues this insanity and just cheeses and gets cheesed.
Well, okay, here's the trouble. Ben has to leave for a wedding at some point, and that's why he couldn't play this game tomorrow. It was actually supposed to originally be scheduled tomorrow.
I mean, if you love your cheese, you may as well marry it.
Mm-hmm. Now, we have to figure out scheduling now that Btyb has claimed victory. I think he said he would be available Saturday evening or something like that. So in that context, he's going to be, leaving us in suspense. What is he actually going to be able to do against somebody like Mystery Meat, right? So what I think is going to happen instead is that Saturday morning, or afternoon, actually, my time, it'll be 2 p.m. my time, which is, let me do some quick maths here, -1 a.m. No, it's 11 a.m. your time, Mesk. That will be Nablime versus Helltrix, our quarterfinal. And then, assuming Nablime is available, we will play the... I'm assuming Nablime wins that match. Whoever is available after that, whoever wins that match will go on to face the Shambler. I think right after, it should be fine. I'll talk with the players and confirm that. And so that will be also on... I guess this is Friday. This is planned to be Friday. So Friday afternoon and into the... early evening, you could say, is going to be our second side of the bracket. And then Mystery Meat Btyb will probably be Saturday evening, which was originally going to be when we held the grand finals. So Saturday evening will be the match, Mystery Meat versus Btyb. I guess if Btyb wins, we'll reschedule the grand finals, and otherwise we might tentatively schedule the Mystery Meat match. Assuming Mystery Meat ends up progressing past him, we can just have that be like, I've had these contingency plans basically for either player, right? It's like, if 3 Crow won, I knew we were probably going to do the next match tomorrow. And if Btyb won, I knew it was probably going to be Saturday. So that's sort of what I'm planning, is that our grand finals will conditionally take place Saturday evening after the second semifinal, or the first semifinal, which is between Mystery Meat and Btyb. But if Btyb actually performs the upset and cheeses himself to victory to the grand finals, it would be shocking, but it could potentially happen. Maybe he's, gonna come back being the best man or whatever, and he's just absolutely gonna slap Mystery Meat around. Who knows what's gonna happen, really? It could happen. He could practice. But either way, that will be something to see. That will be a feast for the eyes. And I'm looking forward to seeing that in action for sure. But yeah, so that'll be, we'll reschedule the grand finals if that comes to that. We'll play it on Sunday or something maybe. Because Btyb will probably be too tired at that point. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's the plan for now. I'll go ahead and update our planned schedule here in the server. And Protoss versus Protoss. It was pretty dumb and pretty silly with the cheeses. But the actual macro matches, it didn't end... It didn't seem too one-sided in that particular front. The last game was a bit of a misfire, but you know how it is. What are your thoughts, Mess? Do you have any general thoughts?
Btyb managed to figure out how to crawl inside the crow and make squawking noises and drive him mad. That's kind of the gist I got out of this, is Kian just got unhinged in a chunk of these games. Starting with the very first, with the Panoptises. And the cheese. He kind of I feel like in that last game, he was thinking too far ahead about the Panoptises.
Yeah.
And didn't want to get cheesed by vassals or Panoptises.
He probably thought of air units, right? Because it's infinite velocity. Yeah. He was going to have ground units that early.
It's more dominant about, that's a Nidus map. It's more dominant about that. He scouted and did not see a second gateway or really too much of anything happening in the main. So, there was always a chance it was a hidden lattice or something, but he didn't really check his base either. So, that worker kind of just went unnoticed and managed to double the proxy. So, like I said, when that match began, it was going to be one of two things. Either they were going to both play safe because it was a best of 5 and they were on the final match, or they were going to double down and cheese harder, and Btyb obviously was going to opt to double down and cheese harder. So you always have to be aware of that. You have to figure out what their mindset is in the beginning of the game. But he didn't do that. He kind of defaulted back to the NPC first, which put him so far behind and in such a position that he basically had to play a solid static defense, because he was never going to have the resources to afford a military at that point, but he couldn't get enough static events to make a difference. And then he had to pull his workers for so long. All he really had to do with the workers was just kill the Draconin and just ignore the Ecclesias. Like, who cares if it's shooting your embassy? Like, at that point, you just go back to mining and start either building your own military structures or think about making an engram with gas or just something like that. But it was just like a slippery slope all the way down. And he just went tumbling, just free fell down, and it was just kind of a disaster. You could like really sense that frustration when he was trying to chase down the second Draconin. And it was just like, it doesn't matter if the Draconin and everyone dies, like most of those workers are not harvesting. So it's just like some people just completely fall apart at that point. And that was definitely like Btyb had figured out the formula to just tilt him and push him over the edge and get him overcommitted to doing something like that. And it was just like a matter of time before he closed that match at that point, I think.
Yeah, I think if the first game had gone the way that we would expect it to, instead of the lack of a scribe pull when the Panoptists hit in that Repulsion match, this would have looked like a very different series, maybe a 4-game series where, Btyb wouldn't have... you can't know how people would play if they're down a map versus up a map, but I think that probably would have encouraged, 3Crow a little bit more. That was a fateful moment. Who knows if he was like interrupted in real life or something, and he just like kept thinking he had done something but hadn't. But either way, I think that probably set him off on the wrong foot. And to his credit, he did recover. He answered back in the next map, was back and forth. His victories looked a bit more on the decisive side. The insane Nightfall cheese was pretty much he was like in a commanding position the entire time, no matter really what was happening. And then you process that and you add that to Infinite Velocity. He's probably thinking Btb's tired. Btb's going to try to end the game, with some sort of decisive cheese or like fast tick to air or whatever, because he's got 2 gases in the main, whatever things he was thinking about. And instead it's just a proxy gate again. And like, he's probably kicking himself right now for that. So, unfortunate, but hey, he gave him a hell of a series. Funny cheese stuff on Nightfall. Always love that. And we got some more stuff for you, obviously. So again, our next match will be 2 days from now. It'll be 2 p.m. Eastern time. Nablime takes on Heltrix, and after that, whoever wins that series will take on the Shambler immediately following. So we'll see how that one goes. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing Nablime back in action. If he ends up beating Heltrix as we expect, I would expect the semifinal number 2 to be really, really quite a thriller match, a ZVZ, but both sharp players who have had some practice lately. And who knows what's going to come from there. If Nablime does make it past the Shambler, he's going to be looking towards Mystery Meat for the, maybe he ends up taking a champion. We have, 3 different players who have won an Ascension tournament at that point. That's 3, so that could be cool. But who knows what's going to happen. So, yeah, it's exciting stuff. And thanks for joining me, Mask. Always a pleasure to cast with you so that we can both laugh at the cheese.
That was definitely very cheesy. It was entertaining for sure.
And there you go. Until next time, boys, GG's.
Smoke weed every day.